Welcome back to Tech, Tesla, and Trends. Returning to the discussion of last night, we're looking at the multi-dimensional chess game that Elon plays with his companies and the decisions that he makes. So I alluded to yesterday the whole super-powered nature of solar, wind, and battery that Tony Seba's discussed in his a number of his Rethink X presentations. So in this time, we're going to look at how the growth and dimension of or the purchase of Solar City enables Tesla Energy to become a truly massive portion of Tesla's overall portfolio, and to fulfill the statements that Elon's made over the years that Tesla Energy will be as big as, if not bigger, than the car portion of the company. And I know there's a lot of people that don't believe that. Gordon Johnson, the class clown, as Stephen Mark Ryan likes to call him, but I know he really doesn't believe in that. But I don't believe he's actually paying attention to the actual numbers. There's an agenda there. I don't know what it is, but someday it may become obvious. Anyways, looking at this overall, the Powerwall and solar rooftop became, those are the big products that Solar City was initially offering. And when Tesla bought it and they began to do installs, and then the Model 3 ramp began, and we discovered that prototypes are easy and production is hard. And the same thing is true with solar and rooftops and Powerwall and batteries and all the rest of that. The prototypes that Solar City generated were great prototypes. You can install it at a couple hundred locations, and it's still not a major it's not something that's rolling out to thousands of homes on a monthly basis. And that's where it needs to be for the solar rooftop and Powerwall to effectively become the product that is necessary to not only make Tesla Energy a super titan of Tesla's portfolio, but also to help distribute the necessary energy resources that are part of the future. Those batteries that need to be in every garage or on the outside of every home, and the solar rooftop that will become ubiquitous across the entire grid of the world's population, I believe. It may not necessarily be Tesla's solar rooftop on every home in the world, but there will be solar rooftops on every home in the world, or some other green related generating capacity and storage capacity like unto Powerwall that will exist within every new home. And I would be seriously surprised if that did not make itself completely a standard norm within less than 5 years, because of the cost curve decline that's occurring within batteries. The fact that Tesla recently re-enabled you to buy a Powerwall without buying a solar roof tells you that their capacity for producing batteries has increased dramatically. And then you have the Lathrop, California battery plant that's going to kick out megapacks at a large, in a large quantity. That's going to enable more of the grid scale storage facilities, such as Hornsdale in Australia, or some of the other opportunity or other locations in Southern California, and a couple in Texas now, throughout the world, Slovenia. Tesla's literally building out battery capacity for grids across the world now, and that capacity is only going to increase and become extremely more potentially there ultimately, the reality for this whole process is that um, the R&D and the growth of the grid scale battery storage is going to impact where Tesla's moving this increasingly more and more out to that grid scale storage. And then that enables the utilization of their energy software, from Power Hub, microgrid controller, and the Opticaster and AutoBidder, and how that interacts. This is part of that overall growth, because with each integration point, the tentacle of Tesla energy, so to speak, gains strength in that particular area of the world. And as a reminder, the sun is free, and capturing that energy gives the capturer a great power. Yes, another bad dad joke, I know. The storage there, though, you can sell that at any point or place. One of the most common places I think we're going to see those batteries get installed is going to be at many of the charging stations that Tesla's building out. This is going to be one of the early places you see those, but those locations will have the ability to not just charge cars, but also to act as miniature substations to back up the grid and to provide stability for that grid as energy events occur. So this is, again, part of that multidimensional thinking that's occurring. And we're just literally walking down through the goals and the overall decision process. Having that the company become, or the energy portion of the company become, as big as the rest of Tesla. That's one of those big goals and decisions. That is actually why Solar City was purchased. Then you look at that time frame, and that's really the next little hurdle that everybody's kind of wondering about. And I think that the Model 3 production hell and the pandemic really screwed up the overall timeline that was there for Tesla Energy initially. And then as we move into the whole reasoning, from that first principles perspective, and that gets into the sun being, providing energy that is essentially free. And, then we move into the overall resources that are necessary. And, they've got this, they've secured contracts for lithium, and they're going to bring a lithium refinery into the United States in either Louisiana or Texas. I'm not sure where that one will end up, depending on which particular state government offers the most, I suspect. And then, you get into that whole, installation I mentioned is part of that production process for building out Tesla Energy. And I think that solar roof installation process still has bugs and kinks in it, but I have great faith in in Tesla engineering as they focus on that particular issue. It will become very cost effective, and you will see another 10x removal of cost through that cost curve and through innovation as time flows. And then looking at the materials, obviously, with those long-term contracts. And then there's always the opportunity for an innovator such as Graphene Manufacturing Group to enter into this at some phase or shape or form if they are able to scale in a massive way, and that will alter that equation significantly, in my opinion. And then as you look at the smaller battery factories that Tesla's rolling out, that gets into the manufacturing capacity, and also energy arbitrage. That software that I mentioned is more than just software. It is truly a production of energy flowing back and forth to resources. This is what most of your this is what your power grid is doing. Your electric company and your or your transmission co-op, they're moving electrons from one place to another for one cost, and then you're paying for that. So this is essentially a factory of sorts for electrons, and it's a distribution process that's part of that, the conveyor belt, you might call it. Then looking at and that's where innovation is occurring in the particular portion of energy right now. And looking at the overall knowledge factor there, Elon is hiring the smartest people he can get his hands on when it comes to engineers and to being aware of those cost curves that are occurring and how they're interacting with not just the products they're making, but also the materials they're purchasing and some of the sub machines that are part of those processes for making that. One of the things that was mentioned in one of the videos I was watching on the 4680 cells is that they had already eliminated portions of machines that they'd built because they were able to find efficiencies. So at Tesla, that's a consistent process. They run as a startup, and they're consistently trying to, again, no part's the best part. That is an absolute way that Tesla thinks. Then you obviously, with the leadership, Elon's there and has provided a very clear vision, and it motivates people, and they are working and doing what they can. And as they build and hire new people to help support that, they support the grid, and ultimately electrons matter, and that is the power must flow. And that's, I know, corny jokes, but aside, it's an important aspect of this. The people that are working to help cause that flow of electrons to your home and to provide that backup ability when hurricanes or winter storms or any other event that occurs that interrupts the normal flow of the grid as that would have caused a blackout before, that won't happen anymore due to energy arbitrage or the auto bidder or some other interacting within that, and those local transactions that will occur between your neighbor and your neighbor's house and yours. That's part of this innovation that occurs. And I think the next phase of that is that financial awareness. And Elon recognizes that energy is one of the largest businesses in the world, between oil and energy generation. They're some of the top 10 companies in the world. You take a look at that and you'll be aware, or should be aware, that this is not a small sector that Elon is disrupting in a major way, and some people are totally unaware of what's occurring. So on the energy side, it's going to completely explode in revenue. Not necessarily in the bad dad joke way, but it's just it is an important aspect of this. The cost decrease that occurs where Tesla innovates is significant, and it being the provider of those services, it enables Tesla to gain a small chunk of every electron that flows to or from your home. And that is a large amount of money when you consider all the electrons flowing throughout the world. That is why Tesla Energy is not a small portion of Tesla's business, as some would argue. In fact, I believe it is truly at least as big as the car portion of the business is today, which, that's not a small amount of capacity. It's not a small amount of profitability. You look at that, and if Tesla Energy is printing another $3 or $4 trillion or more a year for Tesla, that's as a shareholder, I will not be complaining, and not in the least little bit. Well, for now, there's the 10-dimensional chessboard that is involved in Tesla Energy, and we'll think about, as you think about that, know that we'll come back tomorrow and have a discussion on superpower and how we tie this all together. For now, have a good night.